Hello, my name is Pat Kelly. I come from Belfast. I'm a member of a big family in Belfast, and I was ordained for the SMA in 1974. After ordination, I was sent to work in Liberia. That was my first mission. But I only spent 5 years there, and after that I was in many different places. I was in Philippines. I was with John McCormack to help set up SMA in Philippines. And then I moved sideways to India, and the next 12 years I was in India. And I spent some time in Rome, and then for the last number of years I have been working with the SMA in the United States. So just recently I came back to Ireland to work here again. This is my first time to work in Ireland for a long time. And I have a new job now, the SMA Promotions Director. And I'm looking forward to getting my teeth into this work, but this coronavirus has influenced how we're doing things. We were planning, back in March, we were planning our May Novena and our Knock pilgrimage, and things were beginning to move forward when the lockdown started. So there's very little I can do in my job during this period of time. I've been trying to keep in contact with the other people working on promotion, but that's as much as I could do at this period. So when the lockdown happened, I was with our community in Ranelagh. We are 6 here in the community, and the staff stopped coming in during the pandemic, the early days, and there were only the 6 of us in the house. So it was an interesting experience, and thankfully we all worked together well. And for example, we did the cooking. We had 2 teams, and every second day I was in the kitchen cooking, and I enjoyed doing that. I learned a lot from that. But the experience during the lockdown reminded me of a sabbatical year that I did way back in the 80s. I did a sabbatical in Prinish Abbey, the Benedictine Abbey in England, and I enjoyed a year living as a monk. And it was a very blessed time in my life. And when this lockdown started, I kept thinking of Prinish, because our life here in Ranelagh was very much like that. Our liturgy, fortunately we were able to do the liturgy normally. We had Mass every day. We had our morning prayer, we had midday prayer, we had evening prayer, and during May, for example, we had the rosary as well every evening. And each day during the lockdown, and we're still doing it, we are praying for an end to the pandemic, and we're praying for people who are in the front line, and this is a very good thing that we're doing every day. So we had a full liturgical life, especially during Lent, preparing for Holy Week. We had the Holy Week services just by ourselves, but it was good. And I have enjoyed the liturgical side of our life here. And on top of that, we did the cooking, as I was saying, and the house cleaning and the laundry and the normal things that need to be done. And this was all good because it gave a rhythm to our day. And there was no point in these past months where I was bored. It never happened. There was no time to get bored. We had, full days and very monastic. I decided too, at the beginning of the pandemic, that I was going to be faithful to my exercise. So every day, and thankfully for the app on the phone, I was getting at least 10,000 steps in every day. And before we could leave the house, when we had to remain within the house, I got those 10,000 plus steps walking around the garden. I knew every plant in our garden, and I watched them develop, I watched them grow, watered them sometimes when they needed it, but walking around the garden. And then since we are able to go out, I have been walking around South Dublin and enjoy the area here, the Georgian Dublin, and I usually take walks through the parks. And there are parks near us. There is Ivy Gardens, a very beautiful little park, which I didn't know much about before. And especially one day walking through the park, I heard a noise and I looked to see the most glorious waterfall. I've never seen one like that in the country, right there in Ivy Gardens beside us. Also Stephen's Green and Merrion Square. And I've learned a lot about Dublin. I love Dublin. Even though I'm from Belfast, I love the city of Dublin. There's a lot to learn. And just yesterday when I was walking, I saw a plaque on a wall that I hadn't seen before. And when I looked closely, it was a plaque of her name, Margaret Anna Cusack. And she is also known as the Nun of Kenmare. And I had encountered her before when I gave a retreat once in Kenmare to the sisters there, that their founder in Kenmare was the Nun of Kenmare. And she went to America and she established her order in America and built a hospital in New Jersey, right beside the SMA house, quite near the next town to the SMA house. So Holy Name Hospital, we are very familiar with that hospital and with those sisters. And I never realized it, that she was born just round the corner from here. So those kind of things, I've been interested in enjoying my walks and finding out new things as I go along. So that's my experience in the lockdown. And also every Sunday I do an online mass with a group that I was involved with in the Philippines, a prayer group. And they have remained in contact with each other through Facebook over the years, and I've been a part of this group. And they asked me, since they were all unable to go to Mass, would I do a Sunday Mass for them? I was happy to. And yesterday, we did our 10th Mass. And it's been a real blessing to have this every week. It has made me sit down and prepare a homily and think about it. And we have all reconnected again after many, many years. So this is another blessing that this pandemic has brought forward. And it's great to be with these people again and sharing the Eucharist with them. They do the readings, they do the singing, and they send in the recordings to me. And while I'm doing the Mass, I press my phone for whatever reading or song is required. So it's a real community event, and I enjoy that. And one last thing is, every week on a Sunday evening, we do a family Zoom. So my 7 brothers and sisters gather together and we spend some time chatting and finding out what's happening with each other. So we didn't do that before the pandemic. We're doing it now. And it's a great blessing. It's bringing us as a family together again. So there's some of the experiences that I have been having during this pandemic. And I'm praying that it will soon be over, because I realize so many people have suffered during it and continue to suffer. And I also praise God for the blessings of being in this community. We are truly blessed here that we have been able to continue as we have been doing. But we're not forgetting those who are less fortunate and are suffering, because we do every single day pray for them. God bless.